We're from FLANEUR Magazin, Fragments of a Street, with the first issue that you can see here, Kantstraße in Berlin, I don't know, maybe some of you know it, to test out the concept and the idea without having too much of a financial risk. We decided to go to Leipzig with the second issue that we launched in December 2013 and ended up on Georg-Schwarz-Straße and launched the Rue Bernard issue last year, summertime. The actual current issue, Rome is out since last week. We had a beautiful launch. You know, I don't know who's familiar with the term flaneur, but flaneur and the theory, I'm not going to dive into too deeply, but it actually is a person who walks or strolls around aimlessly. And I can say that I definitely did do the same. And what I realized is that there's so much life and stories happening on one street. Sometimes you can hear the neighbors fight, sometimes you can hear them laugh. And I was just interested in maybe embracing a street as the greatest storyteller that we actually have in front of our house, in front of our windows. What I mean by this is that it doesn't matter who we work with. So we're interested in the stories that people from diverse backgrounds tell us. So it can be an illustrator, it can be the barber we meet on the street, it can be an academic writer, and so on and so on. What I would like to stress is with this that most of the things that we then print are not primarily made for print. So we're also interested in the times, you know, where print is facing a lot of challenges, to take this as an advantage and to rethink also print as a medium. And this is another example. So this is also part of the Rome issue. And we teamed up with two Rome filmmakers, Matteo and Alessio, and they came up with a fictional parrot story that's happening on our street. But what I want to tell you with this is that it's a short film that we then print over 6 pages, the film still.
So we go to a street, and we talk to a lot of people, a lot of locals. We talk to nice people. We talk to some occasionally scary-looking people. And we talk to people who look like they come straight out of Wes Anderson movies. We also talk to shopkeepers, old people, young people. As Ricky mentioned, that there's sort of no hierarchy between our contributors or what kind of contributions we have. Equally, we feel like everyone has a story to tell, everyone that we meet. We also look at a street's history. We look at its architecture, its social structure. We're often mixing real and fiction to create new pieces. So as flaneurs, we look very closely at the pavement, and sometimes we look up at the sky. It's really important for such a site-specific project that we all go and actually see and experience the street for ourselves. So the editors are actually living there for 7 weeks, and we gather a lot of visual research. So we look at the beautiful things, we look at the really ugly things. So in the same way that our contributors are often challenging what can be kind of an editorial story, we're working with them really closely all the time to also kind of test the format of print as well. In issue 3, one of our contributors took a road trip from Mexico to Rue Bernard in Montreal, and along the way he kind of wrote his piece on scraps of paper, on cigarette packets, on, I don't know, whatever he could find. And then he stuffed it all in an envelope and left it at our local newsagent. And so this is how we received it, and we really liked this experience of sort of discovering it and piecing it together, and we wanted to recreate that for our readers. So we soon realized that when you're working on site, always with sort of mostly local contributors, that means like 90% of our contributors are people we've never worked with before. But in turn, it means that it's kind of developed its own unique voice that's really specific to the people and the place that made it happen. And it's very fun to do. Thank you very much.